Hello, this is Paul Cole, manager of SuperGen Products West, and also the party that you receive when you call our tech line. Our phone number being 18-generator, which is also 843-637-2867. Today we're in our continuation series of technical videos that you may find helpful for your own personal needs with your champion product inverter. Today we have a model 2800 running wattage, 3100 peak dual fuel. This will burn either propane or gasoline. Our video for today is going to show you how to remove the computer control unit and also how to replace the recoil rope. Couple common items that people do run across from time to time. The control unit is a large heat sink with an assortment of computer and electrical equipment in the back of it. Very rarely do we have these fail, but they do, and by understanding how to get to it, how to replace it, will help you save money and get your unit back into service that much sooner. The other item is the recoil assembly. And with this particular model, you'll see that it's highly concealed. So that means you got to get to it. And getting to it involves a variety of steps that we're going to go through today and be able to show you how you can do a lot of your own work. If you're out camping and your recoil breaks and you happen to have a model that is recoil start only, you've got a problem. In this particular model here, this is an electric start model, not a problem. But in the event you need to replace the recoil rope at some point, you will see the steps involved to get to it. We'll also disassemble a recoil and show you how to replace the rope and rewind it so everything is functional. So, with that, we're going to start the disassembly process on this unit. And this also will serve the same purpose for any of the champion inverters that you see with the enclosed design. Okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the upper handles. These handles are in half sections with a Phillips screw, 3 Phillips screws in each section. We're going to use hand tools so that you can see it can be done without needing a whole lot of power equipment. So just a common number 2 Phillips screwdriver will do it. Make sure you don't lose your screws along the way. A little container to hold them would be good, or a magnetic tool tray available at Harbor Freight. We all have had them. They're a good item to have. 3 screws inside the handle on each side. This handle setup's a good sturdy setup. And just for reference only, if anybody's using a parallel kit to put 2 of these units together, there is 1 large handle and 1 small handle. The handle on the end where the exhaust is, believe it or not, is slightly larger than the handle on the end where the air filter and the battery go in this unit. And the reason behind that is the parallel kit is meant to attach to the handle, and the clamp on the parallel kit will not fit properly over the fatter end. We'll be doing other videos involving the parallel kit and its testing, and you'll see at that point more information about that. Okay, so now we've got the one end, the 3 screws out of the one end. We'll take the 3 out of the other end. They're short Phillips screws, 5 millimeter in diameter and about 3/8 of an inch long, as you can see right here. Just a very small Phillips screw. They're black in color on all of them. The other 2 screws now, we'll take those out. If they don't fall out from their own dropping, give them a little tap with the screwdriver handle and that'll shake them out. Okay, now once you get those off, you will be able to take a flat blade screwdriver, like so, flat blade, get in the gap of it and give it a little bit of turn. Give it a little bit of turn, it'll snap out of place. Okay. Same over on this side here. Sometimes they're a little difficult, so they're tough. You won't break them. Very tough material. Give it a good healthy push and they will come out. There we go. Now keep in mind, each one are different. So we're going to put this end on our right side and the other one we'll put it on our left hand side. That way we know where they go. Okay, so with that, we're going to rotate the inverter. And then there's 5 more fasteners that hold this end cover on. You've got 2 Phillips screws halfway down the back chassis here, the right hand cover chassis. Phillips screw. It's going to be a different length than the others that go in the handle. Spin it out, and it's just a very wee difference. 1/8 of an inch longer than the other. So if you want to keep them together, organize them at that positioning and length. Okay, and now we're going to take the other one out. Now, there's 2 more fasteners at the very bottom, and those are 10mm socketed bolts. Get a 10mm socket, go up in there, and remove those. Now, those are a shouldered bolt. I'll show you one in just a moment. And they bottom out, so you can't over-tighten it. 2 of them. So you've got a total of 7 fasteners that actually hold this cover in place. Now with that, I can pull this cover away. Now if you rotate it like this, you'll notice this little can underneath here is what they call the carbon canister, and that is part of the emission system. You'll see these lines coming from your gas tank and carburetor or air box that filter through here and take all of the gasoline fumes and filter them through the carbon canister. Okay, so they're held on with 2 flat bladed ears. It's like a muffler strap kind of. Now what I like to do before I remove it is I like to put a little WD-40 underneath the strap. So take a flat bladed screwdriver, put it in alongside the rubber strap, and just give it a quick squirt. Don't take much. Okay, now the reason doing that is for disassembly as well as reassembly. It makes it a lot easier. So we're going to do the same with the other side. We're going to lube up that rubber retaining strap. Now the idea of removing that, you can leave it like that if you choose, because there's your computer module right there. But by removing it, you don't take any chance on damage. You see how that slid right off? It'll also slide right back on. And there's little retaining locks on this, so when you slide on, it stays in place. Now these can break, so you want to be a little sensitive to their roughness. Don't get rough with it. That's why taking this off keeps you with a little bit more usability in your repair. Okay, so now we're looking at the control module. Occasionally you'll get a unit delivered that one of the plugs in the back is shaking itself loose from FedEx delivery. And you'll know that because generally you'll have no output of electricity on your screen. So, if you call the Champion Tech Line or you call Super Gen Products Tech Line, they're going to ask you to remove this cover and check all of the modular plugs in the back. Now, we're going to take that out of there and then you'll get a better view of them. And that's going to take a 7mm socket. Loosen up, there's a hold down strap on each side. That hold down strap prevents it from lifting out. Let's see here. You also have on the right side of most of those models, you're going to have a DC diode that helps it, that powers up the DC charge for your panel DC power cord. Okay, now at the very top, there's also another strap that's 10mm. And you can actually do it, probably just taking one of them off. I'm going to take just the one off today. I think we can get the control unit to where we can see it. Okay, now we can take this bracket that holds it on this end off. And by lifting up on the control unit, it'll come out of place. Now, see if I can rotate this so you can see where the modular plugs are. It might be a little difficult with our picture here, but if you look, you're going to see them. Now, I highly recommend that you snip the wire tie that holds all of these wires. None of them are in any danger of causing any problems whatsoever. But by snipping the wire tie, it gives you a little more flexibility to work with. See, now you're going to see a big difference here. We can pull it out a little farther. If you look at the modular plugs on the back, they're all unique. There's a little nylon lock on them. Release the lock and pull the plug out. Same on all of them. There's a nylon lock. You got to depress that and it will allow you to pull the plug out. It's like so. If you can't get the nylon lock, take a screwdriver and you can depress it. Once you depress it, the plug-in should come right out. Sometimes they're a little testy, but normally they're not a big problem. Just release the lock and slide the plug up and out. If you want to mark them, you're welcome to do so. You'll see a little magic marker mark where everything lines up when it's in place. The two marks will give you a little alignment. Or if you want, take a magic marker or like a Sharpie and mark them by number. 1, 1, 2, 2, and so on. Okay, so now we're going to remove this bottom plug. Now you'll see everything's been removed. That's the long and short of it. Okay, there's one model that does not have a plug in it, and as you'll see, it's this one right here. They get a little extra, a little sticker over the top of it. So if you see one missing, don't get nervous. They're generally all identified by the harness, and like I say, they're all unique. You cannot make a mistake in putting one in another one because it won't fit. So that's your control unit. One of the identifiers of a control unit being bad is if you find that pulling the rope, it feels like something's dragging very heavily. And what it is, it's a chip inside of this that's failed, and it's causing it to over magnetize when you pull the rope. Extremely high magnetism in the DC windings, so over magnetizing when you pull it, you can't spin it. But if you release this plug down here, the one with the yellow, three reds and 2 yellows, if you disconnect that one only, you should be able to start it right up. And that's an indicator your control unit's going to need replacement. Okay. Now, once you get the control unit out of there, we can go on to step 2 of our video today, and that's on the recoil. And you'll see it's listed, it's shown right underneath here, and it's a little unhandy to get at. That's why getting this control unit removed will allow you to see what you need to do and how to replace it. Okay, so on the very front where the recoil assembly is, you will see a sub plate right underneath here. That plate has got to come, you've got to take the retaining screws out of it. It's all part of the recoil assembly and must be removed and replaced before you complete your project. If you can put it on afterwards, but you've got to have your recoil wound up, and you don't want to lose the spring tension. So it's a good idea to do it before you put it back together. But you see here, you'll see that little sub plate right here. Don't lose it, because they don't sell that as a part. For what it's worth, you've got to buy a whole recoil. The recoil does come with it. There is no parts listing for that plate. Just a manufactured item. Now with that plate taken off, you see that I can put the recoil and it'll go up inside the hole. So now, the only thing holding this in place is 3 10mm bolts. But, like I say, you've got to remove the control unit to get to them. So there's one up here on this retaining strap at the top. So we loosen that up and we remove it. Bring the retaining strap with it, and that'll help remind you to put it back in place. Now all that does is it's a little aluminum strap that's rubber covered that helps you guide the wires. Okay, now in this case here, we're going to have to remove the battery too, because we can't get in at the bottom bolts with the battery in place. Maybe we can get at one of them. Let's see here. Yeah, one of them we can. And keep in mind, you're going to need a long extension in order to get up in there too. Once you get that bolt out of there, you're down to one more bolt. Okay, now, you just take a look. Maybe we can get by there and get to it. I don't think we can. Let's take a look and see. No, we're going to have to remove the battery. Not a big deal. You've got a rubber strap. Release that off the hook. Okay, it's secured on one end, and they've got the retaining hook collapsed a little bit so it can't come off. So release it from the left-hand side. Okay, and we take our Phillips screwdriver and we remove the bolts. These bolts are special battery bolts, so don't lose them. And what I recommend you do is to put the bolt back in the nut on the battery. If you put it in the way you took it out, you'll know how to reassemble it that much easier. Okay, now with that we can pull the battery out. Now that the battery's out, we can see it. See that last one? Come in here with our socket wrench, and there it is. Not exactly a cakewalk with all these covers on, but certainly gets a lot easier as you remove this stuff. Be careful you don't drop your screws, because otherwise you may have a chore getting them out. If you do, get a magnet. Long handled magnet works good. Now your recoil assembly is out. Now for instance, if you've got a broken rope, it's wound itself back up in there and you lose the tension of the spring. So, if you're going to be replacing the rope, what I recommend you do is pull enough of it out, or if you've lost the rope, I'm going to show you the full gamut to repair or replace the rope. Now let's say it's connected and you've got a broken spring, for example. You want to pull this little knot off. Now I'm going to do the easy way, but let's assume that the rope broke. So this one wasn't broken, but we're going to break it. So what you want to do is pull the end off it, and obviously what happens is it slides in there and unwinds. Now you got the pieces loose. If the rope breaks, this will stay in place, but the knob may drop. So try not to lose the knob if you can help. We'll get to putting that back on shortly. Now, if the rope is broken very close to the end, you could use it again. And what you want to do here is fish this rope out to where you can see it. It's already unwound. So here's the rope. Okay, now let's assume we're replacing the rope. We put it up through the spool. From the outside here, you'll see the hole where it releases, comes up inside. You tie a knot onto it, and the way I like to use the knots, the easiest way that I find is to do 2 turns like that, and then run the rope through the middle like that. That's going to give you a secure holding. If you put a single wrap, that knot will break free and you'll end up with right back where you started. So 2 times around your finger and then over and under, and you've got it. It's that simple. Okay, so let's put it back to where it was. Okay. Okay, so let's say we replace the rope, we put it up in there, we've got our knot in place, and now we're pulling it out. That'll keep it from coming off. Now, if your spring did not break, it'll be just a routine winding of the recoil. Now, the easiest way to do it is, if you'll notice this notch on this recoil, you get a little closer to the camera here, you can see it a little better. There's a notch. You want to fish the rope counterclockwise over through the groove and up to that notch to where you can slide it in the notch. Rotate it a little bit. and then put the rope in that notch. That's very important. If you don't do that, you can't wind it because it hits the corner portions where the recoil pulley sets in there. But if you put it in that notch, you can now start to rewind it. And what you want to do is you want to go at least 3 turns. And then when you do, you've got to hold the recoil from unwinding. So, at that point, you want to put it through, let's see here. You'll notice the exit hole right here. Continue to wind around until you reach that exit hole. And be sure to hold the pulley so it can't unwind. And with that, you fish this up through that hole. Till you can pull it completely through. Sometimes if you take a cigarette lighter and burn the end of the rope, you can get a nice end on it that will allow you to push it up through there. I usually can get them through there with just a little trial and error without losing the recoil. Now, you can also take a pair of needle nose pliers and that will allow you to pull it up through too. Just got to get a bite on it. Like so. Yeah, it's being misbehaving to me here, but we'll get her. There we go. Sometimes 3 hands is better than 2. Just get a bite on that and you can pull it up through there. Okay, now, once you get the rope in there, the best way to deal with it is to take it and just put a loop knot in like that right there. And that'll keep it from unwinding while you're doing your deed again. When you get through, you give it a pull and it'll release. Right now the rope is wound. And of course it will recoil back in there once I release this. Okay? In the meantime, I'm going to put the handle on. First I'm going to put my plate on. Be sure you put it on in the right direction. Okay? You'll notice on it that the dimple, the recess, faces outward. If you put it on the other way, it's not going to install properly. So you got to put the dimple part, this high portion to it, that goes inside toward the engine. So let's put this through there. Okay, good. And by winding the rope and putting that double knot in there, you keep everything loaded so that you've got some flexibility to work out here. I'm going to trim the end of this rope a little bit. You can lose 4 or 5 inches of rope along the way and still have plenty of rope. Okay, so with that we're going to put the handle on. And that's going to fish its way through the hole here. Just give it a little bit of twist as you push it and it will come right up and out. There it is, the handle's up in there. Now you've got to put the retaining piece on. And you're going to put the rope up through the hole of that little retention block. It's going to go up through the hole of it. And then we're going to take the pliers, get a bite on it, and pull it through. There we go. Okay, so now we've got the rope through everything that it goes through, and we're going to do a double knot on this end. 1, 2, over, and under. And that sucker will hold a Mack truck if you do it that way. You can pull it as tight as you want, it'll never let go. So now we slide the rope down into the little pocket of the recoil retention part and then tuck the rope around it. Then take the handle and bring it up there and then just press that into the rubber handhold, just like so. Might have a little too much rope on the end here, we can trim that a bit more. It's not going to pull out, we can trim it fairly tight. There we go. Okay, and that goes in sideways, like so. Okay, so now we can actually put the recoil back in place and then pull this at the end, because once we get through, then we'll have this mounting plate where it goes. So let's start with putting the recoil up in its place. So that's going to go, what I'd recommend you do is to take the recoil handle and get it through the hole and put that mounting plate through, so we now have everything on the outside. And with all that extra slack, not a bad time to put that plate back in place. You'll see that it only fits in there one way, so let's set it up in there, like so. And we'll get our screws that hold it. They're unique screws, they're 4mm, about 1/4 inch long. I would set them aside as you remove the recoil. And start them, finish them up with the screwdriver. Be careful starting screws and forcing them crosswise with a screwdriver. Just be very careful. You'll notice that they'll already work in. If they start getting tight, take it back out and try again. Okay, so that's in place. And that's in place. Okay. Now we're ready to put the recoil in. It's only going to go in one way properly because the alignment of the exit hole for the rope has got to align with the pull of the rope itself. Okay? Remember that top one had a retaining strap. So we'll put the retaining strap on first because we can get at that one much easier. So rotate it slightly and it'll drop right in the bolt hole. There we go. And we get number 2, number 3 bolts, and put those in. Get your best alignment for going into the recoil. And then take your extension and put it right in place. The one on the right side is a little easier to see. I put that one in second. If you think it's not starting smoothly, back it up 2 or 3 turns and it will align itself to be able to screw in easily. Once again, don't force any bolts that don't want to go in with your ratchet. You get too much power on them, next thing you know you got the whole cross threaded. And then it becomes a whole different nightmare. Okay, and the final bolt. Gets a little dark back up in there, so having a flashlight isn't all that bad an idea either. You can feel the hole with your hand. Okay. You can see it's not necessarily an easy job for me either. You just gotta be patient, get your holes all to the line. I can feel it there. And I think we got it. Okay. You may find a 1/4 inch extension will be a little bit more handy for you. Just because it's got a smaller body to the shank. Okay. Now we're going to tighten it up. Once again, you don't want to get crazy with these 6mm bolts. Just be patient and run them up until they just heat, and then give them just a little bit more, not a lot. You can't snap them off. Some people don't know their own strength. We run across that all the time. You'll know you're in far enough when it bottoms out. When it stops, then give it just a little bit more, not much. Okay, let me tighten the top one, and we'll be good to go. Take the retaining strap and just guide that fuel line hose that comes off of the fuel line. Okay, so now we're all set. If I pull this out, I'm going to pull that knot free, and it'll go right back in. There you are. And away you go. If you haven't wound it enough, you're going to have to remove it and try it again. So be sure that you wind it at least 3 times and maybe 4 to play it safe. That will give you plenty of tension for your recoil to go back in. That pretty well sums up doing the recoil. If you got any questions, you're always welcome to call our 24-hour tech line number, and you'll be speaking with me. And our phone number is an easy one. It's 1-8-GENERATOR. And that, if you spelled it out on the phone, would be 843-637-2867. This is one of the first in our technical videos that we're going to be doing. Obviously, the opposite of taking it apart is putting it back together, fairly straightforward. If you have any questions, give us a call. If you have any suggestions for new videos, or you're working on something that you need some video assistance with, give us a call. We'll make a video for you. And parts, you can always get parts through us. We're not only are we a distributor, but we're an authorized dealer for parts. And you know, we generally ship the same day. So I welcome your time today, and be sure to pass your information around. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/user/SuperGen Products. And you'll be able to subscribe so that as we come out with more new videos, you will have them sent to you automatically. Have a great weekend. Thanks again.